वासुदेवाय चलन् क्वचित् कण्टकशर्कराङ्घ्रिर्नगारुरुक्षुर्विमना इवास्ते पदे पदे अभ्यन्तरावन्निनार्दितः कौटुम्बिकः क्रुध्यति वै जनाय. Thank you.
Thank you. Anjali Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. चलत क्वचित कंटक शर्करा अंग्रिः नगा अरुरुक्षुः विवनाः इवा अस्ते पदे पदे अभ्यन्तरवह्निना अर्दितः कौटुम्बिकः क्रुध्यति वै जनाय. हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
Thank you. Vijay Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सरलन् क्वचित् कंटक सक्रांक्रीर् नहारु ऋषिर्विमना इवास्ते पदे पदे अभ्यन्तर वह्निर्दिद कौतुम्बिक कृत्यति वै जनाय. हरे कृष्ण माताजी. थैंक यू माताजी.
Usha Devati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय चलन् क्वचित् कंटक सर्कर अंग्रिः नग अरुरुक्ष विमान इव अवस्थे पदे पदे अभ्यन्तर वहीनान अर्थित कौतुम्बिक कृत्यति वै जानये. हरे कृष्ण माताजी.
Thank you. Madhu Soni Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. दंडवत प्रणाम.
Hare
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय चलन क्वचित कंटकर्षरांग्री नगा आरुरुक्ष विमना इवास्ते पदे पदे अभयंतर बहिर्नार्दितः कौटुंबिकः क्रुध्यति वैजनाय. थैंक यू माताजी. हरे कृष्ण.
Prafulla Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी. प्रणाम माताजी. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय चलन् क्वचित् कंटक शर्कराङ्घ्रिः नगारुरुक्षर्विमना इवास्ते पदे पदे अभ्यन्तर बहिर्नारिद्यत कुटुम्बकेन क्रुध्यति वै जनाय. हरे कृष्ण माताजी. थैंक यू माताजी.
Chalan Kvachit Kantaka Sakranagrihir Nagarurukshur Vimana Ivaste Pade Pade Abhayantara Vahanina Arditaha Kautumbikaha Krudhyati Vai Janaye. Chalan, wandering, Kvachit, sometimes, Kantaka Sharkara, pierced by thorns and small stones, Angri, whose feet, Nag, the hills, Arurukshu, one desiring to climb, Vimanaha, disappointed, Iva, like Aste, becomes Pade Pade, step by step, Abhayantar, within the abdomen, Vahanina, by the strong fire of appetite, Ardita, being fatigued and aggrieved, Kautumbhika, a person living with his family members, Krudhyati, becomes angry. Why certainly Janai at the family members. Translation by His Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sometimes the merchant in the forest wants to climb the hills and mountains. But due to insufficient footwear, his feet are pricked by small stone fragments and by thorns on the mountains. Being pricked by them, he becomes very aggrieved. Sometimes a person who is very attached to his family becomes overwhelmed with hunger. And due to miserable condition, he becomes furious with his family members. Purport by His Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The ambitious conditioned soul wants to be very happy in this material world with his family. But he is compared to a traveler in the forest who desires to climb a hill full of thorns and small stones. As stated in the previous verse, the happiness derived from society, friendship, and love is like a drop of water in the scorching heat of the desert. One may want to become very great and powerful in society, but this is like attempting to climb a hill full of thorns. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares one's family to high mountains. Becoming happy in the association is like a hungry man's endeavoring to climb a mountain full of thorns. Almost 99.9% of the population is unhappy in family life, despite all the attempts being made to satisfy the family members. In the Western countries, due to the dissatisfaction of the family members, there is actually no family life. There are many cases of divorce, and out of dissatisfaction, the children leave the protection of their parents. Especially in this age of Kali, family life is being reduced. Everyone is becoming self-centered because that is the law of nature. Even if one has sufficient money to maintain a family, the situation is such that no one is happy in family life. Consequently, according to the Varnashram institution, one has to retire from family life in the middle age. Panchashordhavam vanam vrajet. One should voluntarily retire from family life at the age of 50 and go to Vrindavan or a forest. This is recommended by Srila Prahlad Maharaj, Bhagavatam 7th Canto 5th Chapter verse 5. तत्साधु मन्ये असुर वर्य देहिनाम सदा समुद्विग्ना धियाम असद्गृहात् हित्वात्मपातं गृह अंधकूपम वनम गतो याद धरिम आश्रयेत. There is no benefit in transferring from one forest to another. One must go to the Vrindavan forest and take shelter of Govinda. That will make one happy. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is therefore constructing a Krishna Balram temple to invite its members as well as outsiders to come and live peacefully in a spiritual atmosphere. That will help one become elevated to the transcendental world and return home back to Godhead. Another sentence in this verse is very significant. Kautam vikaha kridhyati vai janai. When one's mind is disturbed in so many ways, he satisfies himself by becoming angry with his poor wife and children. The wife and children are naturally dependent on the father, but the father, being unable to maintain the family properly, becomes mentally distressed and therefore chastises the family members unnecessarily. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 12 Canto 2nd Chapter verse 9, Achhina dara dravina yashyanti giri kananam. Being disgusted with family life, one separates from the family by divorce or some other means. If one has to separate, why not separate willingly? Systematic separation is better than forced separation. Forced separation cannot make anyone happy, but by mutual consent or by the Vedic arrangement, one must separate from his family affairs at a certain age and fully depend on Krishna. This makes one's life successful. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Sapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastite Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishpanuste Devi Pranamami Haribre. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमः ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Sometimes a merchant in the forest wants to climb the hills and mountains, but due to insufficient footwear, his feet are pricked by small stone fragments and by thorns on the mountain. Being pricked by them, he becomes very aggrieved. Sometimes a person who is very attached to his family becomes overwhelmed with hunger, and due to his miserable condition, he becomes furious with his family members. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, which is called Creative Impetus, chapter number 13. Do you still remember the name of the chapter?
Further talks with
King Ravana and
Rahuna and
Further talks between further
King
conversation
Rahaguna
Bharat
and Jadabharat.
So King Rahugan, Jad Bharat is telling King Rahugan about the futility of this forest of material enjoyment, and he's explaining it in a very allegorical manner, where he's comparing the forest or the material world to a forest, and he's comparing the conditioned soul to a merchant. So where this merchant means a conditioned soul, forest means this material world. because we want to do some trade, right? We want to do some contracts or negotiation in this world to become happy, somehow or other become happy. So we have been reading that how difficult the life is in this forest from this allegorical explanation. You know what is going to happen at the end of this chapter? I think this chapter only has like 16 verses or something. Maharaj Hogan is going to say, I don't understand anything, explain again. So then the next chapter, Forest of Material Enjoyment, Maharaj Jad Bharat is going to explain everything that he explained in this chapter again. This is what is going to happen. Because he's using this language which is not very easily understandable. So when he says merchant in the forest wants to climb the hills and mountains, but due to insufficient footwear. So climb the hills and mountain is compared to the serious affairs of the family life, like performing marriage yagya, for example. Okay, like we have to overcome all these things. So a conditioned soul wants to do it, but because it is so extensive and it is so difficult to perform, when it is compared to one's feet being pricked by small stone fragments and thorns on the mountain. Okay, and then because we are not, the conditioned soul is not able to do these duties or rituals properly, it makes the life more and more miserable. One feels oneself a defeat. And one who is very attached to the family becomes overwhelmed with the physical hunger, bodily hunger, and becomes very, very, apprehensive and impatient. And not knowing where to take this anger out, one becomes angry at one's dependence in the same family. So the desire is to become happy, but the outside circumstances are just not going to fulfill that desire. On the contrary, one becomes more and more unhappy. You see, there is a mismatch, right? The desire is to become happy. You know, why is someone gonna get married in the first place? Anyone who wants to get married and say that, okay, I'm going to make my life completely miserable, let me get married. Huh? Do we think like that? Or do we think like that for our children when we get them married? Hmm?
No, Mataji.
Yes, I'm gonna
No,
make
Mataji.
your life miserable, let me get you married. Yeah.
No, Mataji.
We don't do that, right? We want to make their life more stable. But what happens is if it is without Krishna consciousness, the life becomes more and more perplexed, because of the laws of nature. Right? Prabhupada is writing somewhere because of the law of nature. This is the law of nature. Where is he writing? In this particular, let's find Krishna. So we are here. Everyone is becoming self-centered because that is the law of nature. Even if one has sufficient money to maintain a family, the situation is that no one is happy in a family life. Okay, so we are all like shackled by these laws, but we think we are independent. That is Maya. It's like, we think what is not there. But a person in Krishna consciousness will be able to put things in their perspective, will be able to put the responsibilities, the duties, the relationships in their perspective of spiritual vision. Because the vision of a person who is completely conditioned and shackled by material life is based on the mind. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous the example is that you are sitting in a car and the person who's driving the car does not know how to operate a brake. Okay, so you don't know how to operate a brake. Is it very safe to sit with that person and they are driving the car? Yeah, they're
No,
driving.
Mataji.
No, not at all.
No, not safe.
So
Becomes more miserable.
compared to that driver who doesn't know how to press the brake or who doesn't know how to operate the brake, doesn't know how to stop. Goes on. Prabhupada is right, and there is no point in going from one forest to another forest. There is no benefit in transferring from one forest to another forest. There's no benefit because the mind doesn't know how to brake. So it is going to or only take us from one forest to another forest to another forest, meaning one body to another body to another body to another body. And my own mind is dragging. It's not that somebody else is doing it to me. I'm doing it to myself. So unless and until I go to Vrindavan Dham and take shelter of the lotus feet of Govinda and live very peaceful spiritual life, then, until then, don't think that it is going to be a very happy life. We put up a facade because we read yesterday that it is a right of the soul to be happy. It's a prerogative of the soul to be happy because that's how Krishna made the soul. It's supposed to be happy, but we are not looking for the happiness of the soul. We are looking for the happiness of the mind or intelligence. We're not happy. Okay, so usme we have to be very careful that how are we leading our life? What are we eating? What are we talking? Who are we associating with? What are we reading? Where is our time going? Am I becoming Krishna more and more Krishna conscious as the days are passing? Or am I becoming stagnant? Or am I going down? We must be able to gauge our own growth trajectory in Krishna consciousness by our prayers. If we pray, Krishna will reveal. So here one example is that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur compares one's family to high mountains, and becoming happy in the association is like hungry man's endeavoring to climb a mountain full of thorns. Okay, so this is the analogy which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving in his explanation that Srila Prabhupada is writing, that the mountain is compared to family life. And happy in the association is a hungry man who is endeavoring to climb a mountain full of thorns. It's a very, very scary situation. They're not saying don't become a family man. They're saying, become a family man for a certain period of time to fulfill certain responsibilities and then voluntarily retire. Right? Prabhupada is mentioning here, right? Pancha shordhvam vanam vrajet. One should voluntarily retire for family life at the age of 50 and go to Vrindavan or forest. So it says, if one has to separate, why not separate willingly? Death is going to separate us from our family, as it has done with our other family members. So why not prepare that separation willingly? Why to wait for a forced separation by the force of time? Because that will leave everyone very unhappy. Even the person who will leave the body will also be very unhappy, right? Because it's a forced separation. But prepare the separation by Vedic arrangement or by becoming Krishna conscious, so that we can become fully dependent on Krishna. Like one must separate from his family affairs at a certain age and fully depend on Krishna. This makes one's life successful, because it is not possible for the entire life to stay in a family life and also to try to become Krishna conscious. So better to become a devotee of Krishna, and at least it's not that, okay, you can't go to Vrindavan, then at least associate more and more with the devotees. Spend more and more time with the devotees. Kartik is coming. If someone has an ability, is already retired, that's the best phase of one's life, retirement. Then go to Vrindavan. Like go to Mayapur, go to Mangalore, go take yourself to these places for some time and spend time with the devotees and learn like how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in the worship at the same time, or engage in the service, and slowly develop full dependence on Krishna. If we don't do it, then we will be very unhappy, and people will also be very unhappy who are around us. But if we go to Krishna, we will be happy. And our happiness is our headache, not somebody else's headache. Okay, that's not that other person is born to make us happy. It's not. Okay, my happiness is my problem, and my happiness must be dependent at the lotus feet of Govinda in the forest of Vrindavan. So in this verse, we learn that family life, we continue to learn. This is a continuation. Now, family life is very difficult. The Shastras are acknowledging it. That is a really good thing. It's not that we only think that family life is difficult. The Shastras are saying it is difficult. And we make it more difficult by not making it Krishna-centered, by bringing in so many, moroseness, or by becoming angry with our own family members because we're overwhelmed with hunger or overwhelmed with our inability to perform different ritualistic activities or performances. So no point in living a life which is full of anger, frustration, moroseness. Have a family, but make a family that is very much centered around Govinda. And separate from the family is not easy, but as what the verse is saying, separate willingly at certain age and try to spend more and more time with the devotees. One may not be able to take sannyas, that's okay, but at least spend time with devotees. Get up and go. In retirement in America, when people retire, they have the whole list of travel destination ready, at least a year in advance. They have a whole list of travel destination ready where they're gonna go. So I was thinking, if they can make a list ready, why can't I make a list ready? And few years in advance, that where do I want to go when I'm on the verge of retirement from my roles and responsibilities in this phase of life? It makes it very exciting. It's actually very exciting that, okay, looking forward for something in life, and it actually infuses a lot of enthusiasm to step into the next role of what life brings you in this body at this particular time. So live a life which is full of excitement with Krishna. Okay. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections, or complaints?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Can you explain still further about the Vedic arrangement?
Vedic arrangement is Varnashram, na? That's a arrangement, na? Is Brahmachari, Grahast, Vanaprasth, Sannyas. So that's what it means. After Grahast, go for Vanaprasth.
But all those are meant only for men, no?
No. Oh, where does it say that? Oh,
Even for ladies it is.
yeah, okay, I understood that it is inconvenient for women. Vanaprasth is meant for both husband and wife. I think sannyas is only for men, mostly for men, not only, mostly for men. Vanaprasth, both husband and wife go and travel the holy places and spend more time. Still dependent on the family for maintaining them physically, but they spend more time, and then eventually the husband leaves the wife in the care of grown-up children and then takes sannyas. That's what I know. Is there anything else that you know?
No, that's what I asked. Like it is only for men or for both. So if the man is not willing, the lady cannot go out for vanaprastha.
If what?
If the man is not willing to go out as for vanaprastha, the lady herself cannot go out, is it not?
You see, the goal of Varnashram system is not a goal in itself. Understand? The goal of Varnashram system is to become Krishna conscious. The Varnashram system is just a way. It's like a pathway, like for a material world. There is no Varnashram system in the spiritual world. It's needed in the material world for a conditioned soul to slowly develop detachment from our deep-rooted attachments in this life. Okay, now it depends. Krishna, are we saying Varnashram system is stronger than Krishna? I don't think so, Mataji.
No. Krishna is
more stronger.
far
If
stronger.
yeah, got it, right? That if one has a very strong desire to go to Krishna and the circumstances are not conducive, Krishna can change those circumstances. We brought this Bhagavadgita 20-day program. You think wherever this program is reaching in the world, the family members everywhere are very, very conducive to whoever is coming forward and attending? I personally met so many devotees through this platform who said that they were so craving for such reading Bhagavad Gita and understanding the science of Bhagavad Gita, but they were restricted for some reason or the other. But see, Krishna is more strong. Okay, we have to remember that always. We must not subdue or retard our growth in Krishna consciousness because of something which is external. Krishna can take care of it because it's a relationship. Am I going to Krishna with more enthusiasm? Rupa Goswami says that, right? Tatra lolyam ekamulyam. So, do I have that intensity?
Yes, Mataji.
Is the
Yes,
question.
yes.
You got it?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah. The only thing is your desire is to be strong. Only then Krishna helps you. Otherwise, like how Prabhupada says, if you're dilly-dally in your Krishna consciousness, he'll also do the same thing.
He will not do the same thing. He will keep encouraging, but he will wait for you. Basically, I think Krishna
He
waits.
will wait for you. He never forces you.
Yes.
Just like how just now I read, through force you cannot get anything.
Correct. Prafulla Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. In this modern time, Mataji, we can lead our Varnashrama Dharma also in the family life. Can we? Being detached from all the activities.
If you are living with devotees in a family life, why not, right? You're living with devotees and the life is filled with Krishna consciousness from the time you get up till the time you sleep, and then you get up again to do the same thing. There's not much difference, right? Then, yeah. Right,
And
Varnashram.
as for law of nature, Mataji told na,
Huh?
the law of nature, everyone is becoming self-centered. That is the law of nature. Then can it be also spiritual level, Mataji? We
Mataji,
can
the
be
law.
little,
Go ahead.
because for Krishna, we can be little selfish to practice our Krishna consciousness, Mataji. Can we?
Yeah, Krishna says that, no, nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Your first selfishness is to become Krishna conscious. Nate vidu swartha gatim. The word swarth is used there. Gatim hi Vishnu. You are supposed to be very, very selfish in going to Krishna. That's allowed. Okay, but your first question is, can we practice Varnashram Dharma and Krishna consciousness? It is not so important to title any devotee family with anything, actually, because law of nature acts only until we don't obey the law of nature to become devotee of the master of the nature. But once we surrender ourselves to the acharya and follow, then the laws of nature will actually help us to become Krishna conscious. You will get that realization. The morning waves will wake you up. Get up. You want to be Krishna conscious now. Get up. Right? Don't you get that? Get up. Do that. And then you will automatically, the laws of nature, disease is not going to bother you that much. Okay, I'm experiencing a disease, but I'm not a disease. So I'm separate, so I can still chant my rounds. You see, Mataji, how subtly the laws of nature take their hold off from the life of a devotee who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the more we surrender, the less they become intense. They want us to become a devotee of Krishna. Everybody wants us to become a devotee of Krishna. That is why they test us. Are you becoming a devotee or are you faking? Are you becoming a devotee or are you faking? The more we become a devotee, the more channels open up for us. Prafulla Mataji, are you still there?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Shubha
So
Ra-
nice, Mataji. You explained it so nicely. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mataji, it's very good explanation.
Very
Very good
nice,
words,
really.
Mata. Very nice, Mataji. Everything you have
Thank you.
opened, Mataji.
Well, that's what
Yes,
Krishna
so
consciousness.
many doubts we have. So many doubts we have. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you. Prabhupada explains it. Okay, Shubha Rao Prabhuji. Hi Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In this, what is that insufficient footwear is compared to? And hunger is compared to?
Insufficient resources to perform these ritualistic performances. Marriage ceremony, this ceremony, that thing, don't have enough resources. to do things. Want to do, make the family happy, make ourselves happy, but can't. Right? You have to take
And one more thing, Prabhupada also advocates make your own home Vrindavan, and you need not go somewhere. They do the spiritual activities there only.
what, Prabhu?
Make your own home Vrindavan and do
Home
the
Vrindavan,
spiritual activity
if you can do it.
like that. It was also said at one instance by Prabhupada, no, Mataji.
Yes, if you can do it. But we must visit the Dham. Visit the Dham. I'm not saying live in the Dham for forever. We must visit the Dham. We must experience, go and look at the temples, the forest, the devotees. We must. We come back to your house and practice Krishna consciousness. We must go because that impression is so important. That experience is so important. Today I was talking to one of my friend's daughters. She's 13, and I was telling her the story of Kaliya and then how Krishna got so old and then he went to the hill of Madan Mohan and how the sun multiplied it by 12 times to heat Krishna's body. So when we enter Vrindavan, we first go to Madan Mohan hill and pay obeisances to Madan Mohan and request Madan Mohan to please make our bhakti 12 times multiplied while we are still in the dham. So my consciousness is not dragged out of the dham, right? And then she's coming to me in December and I said, when you will come, I'll take you to Madan Mohan temple. I actually forgot that I'm not in Vrindavan. I literally forgot. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not in Vrindavan. So even she forgot. She also said, yes, auntie, when I'll come, we'll go. So what happens is the impression is so important. You have to take your body, you have to make your feet walk on that land and go and bow down with your head on in front of those deities and go to Jamuna. It's very important. Don't minimize it or try to jeopardize it for anything else at any cost. Don't. Otherwise, Prabhupada would not have built the whole center, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, everywhere. Okay, we can, if somebody can't, it's not practical for someone to go and move entirely in devotee association in a Vrindavan Dham or any other Dham, it's fine, but at least visit, make it a point to go until we have the able body. My mother, she said she couldn't do Govardhan Parikrama. The knees are not so good anymore. And I wanted to do, and I said, I don't know how much time I have left before I can, continue to do this Govardhan Parikrama on my own feet. She says she regrets it that she couldn't do it in her life because now she can't walk so much. You see, that regret, why do you want to carry that regret? Why? Why can't you just get up and go? Think our circumstances are stronger than Krishna? It's never going to happen. Shubhara Prabhu, are you still there?
Yes, Mata.
You
Thank
got
you.
it?
Yes, Mata.
Okay. Question, reflection, any other realization?